Hi, Miss Ariella. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for meeting with us.
Thanks for
We're
having me.
happy to share with our fans this conversation. I think everybody knows me. I'm Marjorie Waldo, the CEO of Arts Garage, and I'm really happy to get the privilege of interviewing all the artists that are performing for our newest series, Music at Home, live from Arts Garage. It's the first time we've been able to do a real live stream where it's a produced on our stage event. It's not, and it's in real time. So they got to sit down at 7 p.m. and watch while the performance is happening. So it's really exciting. So thanks for being part of it.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be a part of it.
So you are a Florida baby, right? You're in Sarasota. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Have you lived in Florida your whole life?
Yes and no. Well, most of it. I was born and raised in Sarasota. I went to school here just like my mom went to school here. And my brother, my aunts, my cousins, uncles, everybody. And most of my family still lives here. I have one aunt that does not. She lives in Denver, but everybody else lives here. And when I knew I was going to have children, I moved away to where their father is from, and we spent 2 years in Texas. My son was born in San Antonio. But shortly after we knew we were going to have a second one, I wanted to come back home. So it was a very short stint away from Florida, but this has always been home.
Yeah, it's good to have the family support when you
Yeah,
family.
My son is 12 now and my daughter is 11, and the two of them have always been as much as they could possibly be to handle. And I love it. They are all themselves, and with a little bit of flavor of me and their dad in there, but
awesome.
they're amazing and crazy all at the same time.
That's really awesome. So you are going to be performing here on September 16th. That's a Wednesday night. You're part of our, I know, it's exciting. You're part of our Out of the House series, which is dedicated to singer-songwriters. And your husband's name is Nicholas Craster. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Nicholas is he plays guitar quite well. And you have pipes that will be very impressive to folks. The names that people say that you remind them of are names like Etta James. You know, that's pretty impressive. So tell me when you started performing. When did you start singing?
My first performance was in 5th grade at the talent show, and I sang Killing Me Softly. I had no idea it was already a song. I learned the Lauryn Hill version, but of course Roberta Flack was the one that made it famous. And that was my first performance, but I didn't take it seriously. I wanted to because it was my heart's desire, but I didn't take it as a career path right away. In fact, when I did go to school for the arts and sang, some of the over-organization on how to do music in a box drove me away. So I ended up being a waitress for a long time and didn't want to sing in front of people. But I couldn't stay away, and it just organically unfolded. And so when someone said, "Hey, do you want to sing on stage?" I was like, "Sure." And it kind of took over from there. That was when it was 2009, which is the same year my daughter was born, but months later, just about 6 or 7 months later. And I haven't done anything else since. I mean, I've done little jobs here and there, of course, but since being on stage after my kids were born, I couldn't say no.
That's fantastic. Have you always written your own music, or I know you've sung covers, as you've said with that piece, but.
Yes, I did always write, but I did not ever consider what I wrote songs. I have a hard time taking myself seriously or professionally. I don't view myself that way. I still feel like maybe like just a little kid, or maybe too free-spirited. But as I've grown into the profession a little bit more, I've grown up in the last 10 years more so than I thought I would. And I can say I did always write, but I wouldn't have been able to say yes even maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting how often for people, I think, for a lot of artists who don't receive formal training. They don't go to school and what's the puppy's name?
His name is Jet.
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 So I think for a lot of artists who don't receive formal training or sort of let their careers organically take off, I think often we don't see ourselves as formally as we ought to when we have some amazing talent. So that's kind of cool. Neat. Okay, so you have a relatively new single. It was written before, but it's been sort of recently released, and it's called Terrified.
The weekend, August 27th, that weekend, it will be like the new single release of Terrified. We wrote the song a long time ago, and I remember we were asked recently, like, it was a very obscure question, like, do you like the song or did you like it right away? And I was like, no, God, I used to hate that song, which is an odd answer, I suppose. I don't know if it is or isn't, but I didn't like it so much because it was a painful memory, I guess. It's a harsh reality for me to think that the possibility of the relationship is ending always exists. Like, that doesn't ever, I'm never in a delusional state of thinking that my love or the relationship is in a state of permanence and can never fade or go away. It's like everything changes, but is it changing right now? And so that thought of like, oh my God, is this it? Is this one? Is this, I don't know. Are we changing? Is this, that revisiting that when we sing it, I can go right back there. And that's okay to feel those feelings and to feel doubt and insecurity and a little bit of that fear. I think it's natural. It's an emotion. But yes. So we wrote it, we still sing it. And even though I don't feel that way now, I get to kind of go back there and go, but it could come back. Mm-hmm. But we take our relationship. I'm glad that I'm so happy to be married, not just to my musical partner, but also to my best friend. He's my favorite person. I love my kids too. They are some of my favorite people, but they're stuck with me. And vice versa. Whereas this one's purely optional, and either of us could go anytime. We have that freedom, even though we're married. We don't view, it doesn't work that way. We take it one day at a time.
Well, I think too that, first of all, the content of that song is universal. I think it's something that we all feel, I think everybody at some point in their lives has probably felt that way. And we know that the only constant is change, right? And yes, we also know that most of us don't really like change. So it's cool that you're able to share it with people, though, because I think it helps people to know that they're not by themselves when they're questioning things.
And that's, I think, why I like it so much more now. It's not so much about me anymore. It's become a song where I can connect with people on that emotion.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Yeah. So who inspires you? Does your husband inspire you? Do your kids? Is it musical artists?
Oh, that's always a tough one. I'm inspired by feelings, like emotions, and I was thinking about it the other day. It might be, I'm usually inspired by pure genius or like total crap.
Pure genius or incredible stupidity, one or the other?
Yes. Yeah, because it takes away the fear of having to be the best or the worst at something. Mm-hmm. And I think that inspires me, because then I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be like a glimpse of fun, or a glimpse of just living in the moment to the fullest as much as I can. It doesn't have to, like, I get tripped up a little bit. Even now in quarantine, people are like, are you writing? Are you writing? And I'm like, no, not really. I mean, I'm just going through the day. I'm distracted, but I think it's because I haven't, wait, I haven't been, I've just been delightfully distracted with other life things.
Like the squeaky toy.
The squeaky toys. And there's no genius in the squeaky toy unless you're the inventor.
Yeah, for the family member that gifts you the squeaky toy and thinks
yeah. Someday I'll write about the squeaky toy. but I am inspired usually by emotions, and I give myself permission to write about them when it doesn't have to be like grandiose or like awful.
Well, when you were that fifth grade girl on the stage and you were singing a Lauryn Hill song, right?
Yeah.
What artist inspired you to start singing?
I honestly thought everyone sang. I mean, I still think they do. Not everyone sings publicly, but I think everyone sings. But my family, I grew up in a very musical family. Everybody sang. And so I just figured everyone did it. The good and bad news was when I found out that other people approved of my singing, I very much heavily I was kind of dependent on the validation, and I was like, oh my god, I'm recognized, they like me, people like me because I'm talented or I can sing, and I thrived in it, and I thought that was like the answer to my identity. It wasn't, and I had some different interesting awakenings over the past few years, but it was a weird time. What told me to sing, I always it just did. You just did it. It's in there and it just came out. But I would listen to great music from all over because my mom liked different music than my dad and my brother, and he was older than me, so he was wicked into like Bob Marley and Toots and the Maytals and Nirvana and Jimi Hendrix, and then my mom is like Patsy Cline and Etta James, and my dad like Jim Croce and all these, and very varied multicultural influences. And the Supremes, she loved this. So I had a pretty good mix, and I liked the emotional ones. Being inspired by emotion, and it's really, I think, the connection I desired, the connection and feeling a part of.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And I think it's a common feeling for many artists. There's one of my favorite artists that performs here pretty regularly is Lauren Mitchell, and she's a blues singer. And I watch a lot of the bands and book most of them. Her connection with her audience is remarkable. And she has talked to me about how that is a vehicle for that she really loves. She really likes that. So cool. So what do you think the power of music is? I think it's a particularly important question right now. There's so much going on in the world. What does music mean to you?
Music, I read a book once where it described music as being alive, and I really liked it. I never treated it that way. If I were to start seeing music as a person, I'd probably feel really guilty because I've done a lot of taking. And the more I see it, the more I want to love it better. The more I want to do it better for music, and not, I'm such a selfish person at heart, and I try really hard not to be anymore. And I treat music that way, and I keep trying to tell it what to do instead of listening and trying to do what it wants me to do. And sometimes with how things are going right now, it seems like everything's got to be a product. And if I write anything, I have to turn it into a song that I can record, that I can sell, that I can have shirts, and it's this mental space that kind of robs me before I even get going. It's become a little bit of a turnoff, but I've made it that way. I've let myself get pulled into that trap. And so if I can just like pray about it a little bit, because I can't change my own mind. I'm too stubborn. But if I pray about it enough, and I talk to some other musicians, and I start seeing things just a little bit differently, and start treating music with a little bit more understanding, and do better at listening and doing what music wants, or what music might even need, I might actually, my life might change completely, which is what I think music is supposed to do. So
really interesting. That was really beautiful. I've never heard it described that way. And I think it's I think a lot of us don't listen as much as we talk. And I think it's really cool to think of when you have an instrument like your voice or your brain for the lyrics that you write. I mean, it is important to pay attention and listen to what it's trying to tell you. And I think that's really cool. That's neat. So tell me about your fans. So you relied on them to sort of give you validation. So what is your relationship with your fans?
I've come to know so many of them personally. I thought about this question. I thought about how close I've become with so many of them that it's so hard for me to think I have fans, because to me, I'm just a person, like I have friends and I have family. And I love when people come up. I know, I can only imagine it's hard. Even when I admire someone at a distance, even now, I have to muster courage to go and face them directly and be like, hey, you did something or said something that I admire, and I want to know you a little bit, if that's okay with you. It's a weird concept. So when people come up to me and they go, hey, I'm a fan, I don't really have anything else to say, but I just wanted you to know that your music has changed me in some kind of way. First of all, I appreciate the courage, because I know what that's like, to just be like, you know what, I have to tell her, so she means something to me. So thank you for like having that much bravery to like come say hi, because I want to know them. And then for them to say that I did something that altered their life is a tremendous honor. And then we start talking, and they start realizing that I'm not like there's no pedestal. I'm not like a great, oh, thank you, yes, bow down. It's more like, tell me about you. Tell me who are you? I'll tell you anything you want to know about me. I'm very open book. And then I get to know most of the people. I mean, I can't know everyone personally. I would love to. If I could, I would. But I love them so much. To see someone as a fan, it almost kind of sounds just commercial to me. I really just have so many like loving, beautiful people in my life that appreciate what I do and encourage my art. So to me, that's like family.
That's really cool.
Those are my friends.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the people that are connected to you through your music, you would not call them your fans. They're people you know now.
Yeah, and even when they're just like, if they open up just a little bit and just let me know a little of who they are, I feel immediately more connected and closer to them.
That's awesome.
And vice versa, I think they get a better idea as to who I am too.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think it's really cool that you see it that way too. I think then when you remove the wall between the performer and the people enjoying the performance, I think I believe music is transformative. It's why I work in the business, right? And I think that the relationship between the performer and the listener, it's really symbiotic and beautiful. And so I think it's cool that you perceive it that way. Okay, one more question. And again, your show is Wednesday night, the 16th of September at 7 p.m. And I want to know what you're looking forward to about the show at Arts Garage. This is my chance to get you to say something cool about us.
Well, you guys have a fantastic, what do they call reputation. Everyone and you're on the other coast. I've been trying so hard, because we're over here on the Gulf Coast. I've been trying desperately to get to play over there on the other coast so that I could have like a home away from home. And I haven't found it yet. And I'm really hoping that like maybe I can come visit more often and just, get off of right in my little area, get outside the box a little bit. But you guys are well known for all the good reasons. You have really great musicians play there consistently, regularly. It's like when there's a venue that is known for having talented, and not just talented, but good people, I think that attracts other talented and good people. And it's a privilege to be a part of that circle.
Thank you. That was a real big compliment. It's a big compliment for us, because we work really hard at making sure our audience and our patrons and our donors know how much they mean to us, but we feel the same way about our performers. We really value what you bring to us and what you allow us to do. So it's a really cool thing. And I bet you this will be your second place. I bet it'll be your second home. So
I
we're
hope so.
very excited, Ariella, really. It's very
Me
exciting.
too.
So we will
It's so
see
nice to finally meet you in face to face. Well, you know, screen to screen or whatever. But
yes. Well, we'll see you face to face soon.
yes,
For us, a
I
few
hope.
lucky few. Unless everybody can get above 10. Although I just read an article right before we started our interview in the Palm Beach Post about some possibility of the governor moving us towards phase 2 like the rest of the state, which might allow for some more freedoms, assuming that it's safe. We want to keep our patrons safe. So
That is the first and most important thing.
yeah, for sure. And our performers. All right, Ariella, I'm really grateful. I cannot wait for your show on the 16th.
Me too. Thank you, Marjorie.
Take care of this dog and play with the toy with the dog. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.